Okay, so we got another question. This one is about how can AI help with color choices and creating cohesive looks? So, the first thing that I wanted to share with you is that there's an explosion of AI technology in creative programs. And so, here's an example of one way that AI is being used today, right now, in terms of color and creating cohesive looks. So first up, let's just play with color. I'm going to select this image and I am going to choose to recolor it. So I'm going to go to generative recolor and I'm going to pick one of the presets at first. So let's try Summer by the Sea. And so what's going to happen is it will recolor this in a way that still makes sense for the context of the picture, which is a vase of peonies, but it's going to give me options that are more inspired by maybe Miami or the sea, because that's what we asked for. So these are all some variants that still all are cohesive and go well together, but are dramatically different than my original image, which I generated this using AI and asked for a tranquil scene um, with a vase full of peonies. So let's try something a little bit different and see what happens. So let's see what it will do with this one. All right, so I've definitely got a bit more avocado green in here. I've also got my pumpkin accents. This one missed the boat a little bit on the pumpkin. This one is certainly a bit more, and it's quite vibrant given that I asked for disco night. Now let's say a calm summer day, calm summer evening in the 1970s. And it should tone down a lot of these colors quite a bit. And sure enough, it does. That's a very calm and soothing. We've got some nice avocado green. We've still got our pumpkin. Even this is lovely with some pumpkin in here. I particularly care for this one. And notice every single one feels right, even though those color choices are dramatically different. Now, I can come back over here if I want to, and I can choose to limit my color palette, come back in, and ask the same thing. And I only get about 4 colors to work with. And again, generative AI is able to take all of that into account, and I get some really beautiful results here. I like this one, it's quite calm. But let's say I want to have something that is a little bit like deeper in saturation. Saturation, remember, is the amount of color. So I've pulled it really to the right so we get fully saturated color here. I can also, lighten it up a bit as well. And anything in between, when I say lighten it up, I mean lighten up that vibrancy, that saturation. So those are all things that generative AI is doing right now within some of the creative tools that exist to help you be more successful in choosing color for your quilts. Now, next up is one of my favorite tools. It's the 3-in-1 color tool. If you've taken my classes, you know I love this thing. The current one has hex values. If you go out to my YouTube channel, the AI Quilter, you'll see all about hex and RGB. But what we can do is pick a random color from this and then use, I don't know if it's generative AI or if it's just, online tools that are magic, in my opinion, to create something really good and helpful for you to be able to successfully pick out the right colors every time. So I am just going to go over to one of those applications now. It's called Coolors, and I'm going to type in the hex code for one of these colors. So 7D2A88. All right, and let's lock that in as the color we want to start with. Now, with Coolors, again, this isn't generative AI in the way that we might think, but it is picking color palettes that are assured to work well together. And as you start to find colors that you like, you might say, ooh, I want to keep this in. You can lock it in and then continue to iterate until you find something that works for the design that you're trying to bring forward. And then we can actually, if you're using a tool like what I am, you could take these colors back in here. So let's say we want to incorporate this 7D2A88 into our palette somehow. I might go like this, 7D2A88. It has to include that. And I'll click generate. So it's now, this is where AI is actually pulling in my requests and then adding in what I required of it, which is this color, to come up with palettes that work. And I'm going to pull in the saturation a little bit, make it just a little bit more vibrant. And then we'll come back in here and take a look. So you can see that that initial color, well, this one isn't working right, but the initial color, that purplish color, has made its way into our designs. So Coolors is one. The other one that I find very interesting is taking and making a color theme from an image. So this is a K facet. And so let's say we're trying to figure out what we want to do in terms of color. And so we're going to drag some of these around until we find something that we like, or we can actually ask, and this is where AI comes into it, is, interpreting muted versus dark versus bright. And so we can choose different color moods. We can also extract gradients from this. So that's often great when you're developing a website and you know an image is going to be on the website and you want to ensure that the overall aesthetic of the website is in line with that image. You can use something like this Adobe Color tool to help you out. We can, do all kinds of things, changing the amount of the various colors. And yeah, so there are a number of them out there. The two that I've shown you so far are Coolors and Adobe Color. And you can see that as I adjust these colors, it's allowing me only a certain way to go because there are different color harmonies at play. And if you take the color class that I do, I talk about these various color recipes using what I call anxiety-free language that helps you, really get a handle on how to make the most of your stash and make quilts that you're really delighted by. So if you'd like the tools that I mentioned here and a list of several others, you can go to radiantmeatball.com/list-request, and I will be sure to send those out to you. Please make sure that you look in your spam folder. I've sent this to several folks and they have messaged me saying they haven't received it, and then we discover it's in their spam folder. So take a look in there and stay tuned for more tips and tricks. See you soon.